Hey, this is Lorena and I wanted to do a Longarm Quilting Work Day. This has been a transition. Briefly, I want to share this beautiful antique quilt that I was filming and editing and working on. It is a quilt that one of my favorite clients brought to me. It is from the 1930s. She said that it was a quilt her great-grandmother did. Now, I deleted some of the footage of when I was really working on it. I had another camera and I used that. So I have a little bit of footage left over. So as I'm trying to straighten out this line, you can see there's just a little bit of fullness there. And we're just gonna kind of work that this way. And I did baste the top of the quilt. So there's this quilt. You can see how beautiful this quilt is. And got my iron and I want to kind of straighten this out. I don't know if you can see how it's bowing a bit, but then it's full here. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it to look really pretty and clean. I was really trying to focus on horizontal and vertical lines in that footage. Also too, this antique quilt was very thin. The fabric, honestly, it was pieced beautifully. There was no openings, no holes, and it was just a thinner fiber or fabric, but it was beautiful. And my client just asked me to do something very simple, and so I just did some beautiful, I got a pattern from Urban Elements, and it's just lines. And she asked for horizontal lines, and so I'm making sure that these lines, as it quilts, it maintains a straight line as much as it can. I didn't think that this quilt would be, the quilting would be magnificent, but honestly, just line work going across the quilt gave this quilt some beautiful texture. And so I'll post some pictures of this quilt. I did this is my first quilt that I quilted up here, and for some reason I had some issues because on the glider where the long arm is, the encoder was put on wrong. So I thought I messed up the horizontal motor on my machine when I moved it. So it was just panicking at the best. And so I figured that out, thank God. But this was my first quilt I ever quilted up here. So I wanted to honor the antique quilt, the maker of the quilt, and kind of like christen this space by quilting that beautiful quilt. And I did them a little bit, probably a ½ inch apart, so that she has a little bit more quilting on this quilt, because this is an antique quilt. It is such a pretty quilt. And you can see how I try to maintain the straight lines. I will post some beautiful pictures of this quilt, and I don't know if any of you guys can guess what some of the material this quilt was made out of. And I'm not saying nothing, because at the time, I love what my client told me. She says at the time they used all the material that they had. They were very resourceful because it was very limited. So if you guys make a comment on the bottom and you get it right, I will put you on a giveaway. But you have to guess right what material this quilt was made out of, because you're not gonna even believe. And I'm not gonna tell you. If you win, you will know. All right, so. Just got out of the shower, just got up, so we're a little puffy. At least I put my makeup on today. All right, this quilt that I'm working on, I've had for quite a while. It's a huge quilt, and what she wants is she wants double batting on it. So we're gonna talk about quilts or clients who want extra different things on their stuff. So all right, let's get started. She says that her client gets cold, so she wanted double batting, but batting that was warm. So I put a 100% cotton, and I was gonna put poly batting. They say it's kind of the warmest batting other than wool, but wool's real expensive, so we're gonna use poly. So I am putting a wool pad on. It's going to insulate, but it's not. I love this wool because it's kind of thin. I don't know if you could see how thin it is. And I ended up having like batting war because I'm running up and downstairs looking for the right batting for her. Oh my god. And I'm running up and down the stairs, so I'm sweating. Oh. So I finally got the batting on. That was a pain, man. I got a king size batting of 100% cotton, and I got 100% wool Palon, and this is extra. So I had a throw size to put in here, and I had to cut some of my scraps so I could kind of attach to the end. This is a huge quilt. So I got that on. I got it basted down. Now I need to iron. One of the good things about having this room is I'm able to slide and move this over because this gets in the way. So it's good to be able to move it over and just slide it over. Anytime you have these kind of borders, you can have problems with borders. So make sure that nothing is bowing this way, like in the block or anything. And anytime you have 3 borders, you'll end up, you can have issues with borders. Some of the blocks are kind of full, which the awesome thing is starch and ironing will fix that. I don't know if you can see it here, but that's not bad. And then make sure your line is straight. So I'm going to maybe rebaste the top because as I was straightening out the line, that's why I don't permanently stitch. Do you see how that kind of puddled up? So it's easy to pop this and then straighten it. And make sure that it's nice and straight like that. I brought it down again so I could kind of fix this right here. I'm going to iron it real quick. I fixed the, and let's see if I have a straight line. Pretty straight. Right here. You want the line to be lined up. And then there's so many lines here, like these lines to be lined up, plus this line. And just kind of, I used a ruler sometimes, and you can tell that the machine, it literally is going through the top fabric, bottom fabric, and 2 layers of pretty thick batting. So you hear the noise of the machine differently. Make sure the batting is straight, so you could literally fold over the batting. And you can see on this side. And you can feel underneath. And then while you do that, you can also pull this back fabric, make sure that there's no pleats on the back fabric, because you can have pleats on the back fabric and sew it that way. And I've done it before, and it's the worst to tell your client. Or I haven't told my client and I unstitched that area, which is hard to do. This is a stiffer batting. It's a more woven batting. Am I gonna have enough? I hope I have enough. Same kind of maintenance. Make sure your lines are straight. these blocks have a lot of fullness, so overstarch a bit more. Sometimes if you just put your fingers on here and just slide the seam, it straightens it out. You can see it kind of wants to draw in. And so I have to be mindful that when I baste everything, that iron and baste everything down, that it's nice and square like that. So I'm gonna wet that area more so I can control it better. And then I'm gonna iron. And I'm holding it, like pulling it a bit. Anything is fabric is very flexible. It's a good thing and it can be a bad thing, and that's why we have issues with waviness. Remember those horizontal lines, and then we're gonna work on the vertical lines. Do you see how it's drawing up a little bit? Because on the horizontal line, now that everything's nice and ironed, sometimes you can't fix it because the way she pieced it here. Then I'm going to start basting. How it's bowing out because of how I'm pulling on the pulley. So just be careful when you're, do you see the difference? I was literally doing this to the quilt or pulling it and warping it, and you want it to be nice and 90. Now, some of the waviness is not necessarily you, but make sure that when you're tugging on this, that it's tight, but not so tight that it warps the seam. You see how this is 90 even when I have this sometimes? Like you could over pull in a section and it bows out. And that's something to look for. Whew, almost done. Yay. She is heavy because she has double batting. So shipping her was gonna be a lot. I'm just fumbling through work days now, believe it or not. But I'm trying to transition here. I went and I got all the batting that I have around my house and I've brought it up here. All the batting that I had downstairs in bins, it's up here now too. Lessons learned. I'm getting tired of running up and down, but it's okay, it's good exercise. I really love this space though. As a matter of fact, when I'm not up here, I find that I kind of miss being here. I think my kids kind of miss me because I'm not in the same room as they are or same house as they are. But my dogs are annoying because they want to be barking because they could see higher up and they're barking at everybody. So a couple times I got so annoyed by them that I kicked them out of the space. But yeah, it's been a transition, to be honest. I'm really excited for this space, but I don't think I've acclimated to the space yet. But I really am happy that I'm starting to work again and get into the rhythm of it. Yeah, it's been a transition. And yeah, thank you for watching and I appreciate you. Blah blah, adios. Look, she's so annoying. Look, she's sitting on a quilt, look. Lily, Lily, what are you doing? She's sitting on my client's quilt. I love you, Ma. And then the little one who always has to be in here. All right, let's go downstairs.